In module 5, we will be talking about physical devices and endpoints. Endpoints means, as I have said in the previous videos, they are the devices, smart devices which connect to the network. So those are the endpoints. And what are the physical devices? Mainly, we'll talk here about Arduino and Raspberry Pi. And what can we do with those things? Normally, the Arduino and Raspberry Pi are used to build the prototypes of it's a general purpose board, and we can build the prototypes of Internet of Things concepts. Okay, so let's start. And endpoints. In this module, we have three main topics: Arduino Uno and Raspberry Pi, and smart and connected cities. So Arduino Uno and Raspberry Pi is from the book Srinivasa KG, and Smart and Connected Cities is the same book from the Pearson edition what we have studied in our previous chapters. Okay, so we start with Arduino Uno. So in Arduino Uno, we have introduction, Arduino Uno about the board description and how to install the software. So it's just a description and also a fundamentals of Arduino programming. It's a C programming type, okay, embedded C. Uh, so which can be so for by this time all you people have been knowing how to do C programming. So so we start with the introduction. In the examination, if we observe previous question papers, we can know the Arduino Uno topic. There are two main questions that may appear. So one is explain Arduino Uno board. You have to write the Arduino board and its pins and explanation for that. And another one is one or two programming questions have been given. So how to blink a LED bulb and so on. So those are very easy C programming and easy to understand. Okay, so we start with that. Uh, so Arduino is an open source prototyping platform with a programming facility. So prototyping means if you want to build a demonstration of a concept, so then we don't have to fabricate the entire device. We can use Arduino to mimic the endpoints. Okay, so for example, if we want to remotely control a fan, for example, so we don't have to embed a separate microprocessor to the fan. We can connect the fan to the Arduino, okay, or Arduino to the fan, and set the commands for Arduino, and it will do the task. But in real world products, so it will not having joining embedding an Arduino to a fan is waste of resources, right? But it helps in prototyping. You can first show the demonstrate the concept that okay, so this could happen. Okay, so those prototype demo for demonstrating purposes, Arduino is used. Okay, so this for prototype. So it can read input. Okay, for example, from the sensors, if you have a light sensor or any other triggering events. Triggering events means if you say suppose the temperature goes below 25 degrees centigrade, so and so conditions, if you put, those are triggering events. So the Arduino is a small computer which can be used to read input and produce output, and also it's a platform which is flexible and accessible to customers. Okay, so it is it's flexible because it is programmable, and it's accessible because so it's not difficult product to get. So it's just click on e-commerce sites and can get that. You don't have to import them and all those things, easily available, and it's an open source one. Okay, so it be connected to electrical circuits, and it has a USB, communicates through serial protocol. Okay, it has an USB. That's a good thing because most of most of the advanced communication devices and also the sensors, so they can be connected through USB devices. So Arduino supports that, and also it also can work with the Mac, Windows, and Linux OS. If you want to program the Arduino, then you have to connect it to a computer and then program it, right? So it is compatible with all Mac, Windows, and Linux OS. So as it is an open source, there are many variations of Arduino. So those variations are Mega, we have Micro, MKR 1000, Flora. Okay, so you yourselves can download the circuit specification of Arduino and modify it and launch your own variant. So that's the importance of open source. So it always supports innovation. So let's see the Arduino board, the main. So if you get the example question, explain Arduino. So in the previous slide, write some introduction. Then write Arduino board. You don't have to write exactly like this, draw like this. So write a square. Okay. So and start naming the pins. It's not difficult. So it only looks these many pins. So first thing we have to observe is there is analog pin. Okay, analog pin 0 to 4. Okay, so a reset button is there, input output button is there. Okay, so and also 5 volt output, 3.3 volt output, ground is there, input voltage is there. These are some pins which are present in every circuit, almost every circuit. Okay, so and also there is a uh, audio banner. So it has a 16 megahertz crystal oscillator for clock generation. A microcontroller is there. So Atmega 16U2, and also reset button is there. Okay, so and also serial clock is there, and serial data output, serial clock output is there. Okay, so interrupts are there, interrupt 1 and 2. So we can see here, so I have just listed a pins which you may have to remember for explanation of Arduino Uno board. Okay, so one is microcontroller. So about digital pin, 14 pins are there, 0 to 13. Okay, so pulse with modulations, those kind of pins are there. Okay, so pulse width, not width, it is width, width. Pulse width modulation means in digital, how many seconds you keep the pulse up and down. So that is the pulse width. So you can modulate that one, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. And also there are two pins, one for transmitting and one for receiving. Analog pins are there, 0 to 5. Power pins are there, reset button is there, USB jack is there, power jack is there, and also several sensors can be connected to Arduino, like a motion sensor, light sensor, humidity sensor, ultrasonic sensor, and all. So these are the main pins which are present, and also it's easy to remember as most of the circuit have those things. Okay, basically TX and RX. Okay, so this is about Arduino board. So if you get a question and also a question about explain Arduino board, so you can write the introduction, write the diagram of the Arduino board, right, and label these pins. Okay, and write some explanation about the pins. And also I have given here a difference between the pins, so analog, digital, and pulse width modulation. So in analog, so 0 to so almost 1023 different states can be identified. So it's an analog signal, and also how the voltage fluctuation from 0 to 5 happens I have given. Okay, so in digital only two states are there, 0 and 1, as we all know, and they are applicable for devices like LED. So here it's applicable for device analog for like a light sensor. Okay, and also pulse width modulation, it's also a 0 volt or 5 volt, but in digital signal it is for example 1 second. So the width of the up and high and low states, they are same. Okay, so in pulse width modulation you can simulate a different width. Okay, so you can increase the width and you can decrease the width. You can see here the width, you can increase the width by keeping it for high for more seconds, for more number of seconds. So this is about Arduino. Next one is about installing software. Okay, so what you so if you have to just download the software. Okay, and you have to select the OS. Okay, so whether it is Mac, whether it is for Windows, whether it is for another Linux. Okay, so and also we have to install Arduino integrated development environment. So just like for Java, Just like for Python, we have integrated development environment with all the GUIs, buttons and clicks. So all those in the similar way we have for Arduino also. So we can use make of. So if you are asking, if asking about the software, so it's embedded C and there is Arduino IDE. So you have to download the Arduino IDE and select the operating system, Mac, Linux or Windows, and start with those things. Okay, so the fundamentals of Arduino programming, if you are saying, it's a C type. Okay, so a void loop, a digital write. So you make the pin high. Okay, so digital pin high, and pin gives the pin number, which pin from I think 0 to 13 pins are there. So those pins, so 0 to keep it high for how much, 10,000 seconds. Okay, so next digital write, keep it low. So it is given is 10,000, it's too much. Okay, so we can give it as 10. Digital write, keep it low. So keep the pin high and low, we have written a simple program here. So the syntax, you can write even the function just like C, function name along with the parameters and statements, and also the variables are declared int x equal to 14 in the exactly similar way as C programming. Okay, so this is about the Arduino Uno. So when I explain Arduino Uno, write the beginning explanation, write the diagram, and also write the all the write label the pin, and also tell something about the software, Arduino integrated development IDE, and also a program structure, how it will be used to say. So that should be about a explanation for sufficient explanation for Arduino Uno. The second one is the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so we'll start with that. So Arduino Uno we have finished. The next one is Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi is a single board computer. So it has all the facilities of a computer. So even you can even connect a monitor, keyboard and mouse to it and work. So it is developed to teach computer science in education institutions. Okay, so we have computers here, as you can see, but uh, there are countries which are very poor, and they want it will be like a low cost computer, and also for prototyping IoT operations it can be used. So it became popular in applications like robotics. You may have watched it in YouTube videos where there will be a small robot with wheels and a camera and connected to a circuit. It's a Raspberry Pi, and it processes the image processing algorithms, and navigates the room or so its path. So it became popular for applications like robotics, and also it is very inexpensive compared to other boards, and open source. There are boards like BeagleBone AI. Compared to them, it is inexpensive, and also it's open source and it is cross-platform. It can be connected with all kind of operating system, different variations of other than Raspbian. There are many operating systems which can be installed in a Raspberry Pi. So I have given some pins here. Okay, pin list I have given again. So write the square, and the pins are from 1 to 40. 40 pins are there. You don't have to remember everything very accurately. So when we are writing an explanation, we can be liberal. Okay, so the processor is a Broadcom BCM2711. We have power source. We can have SD card because there is no inbuilt storage. So therefore, an SD card is needed. So general purpose input output GPIO. So they are so what they do. So you can program them to behave how you want. This is general purpose. Okay. So in Arduino we saw this signal pin. This is digital pin. That this we had specific pins, right? So this pin is a general purpose, and you can program it as you like. So and also you can connect a display serial interface. Okay, so if you want to connect a LCD display, so there is a display series serial interface, and also there is an audio jack. and also an Ethernet port, and also it has a camera serial interface for robotic applications. We have discussed. Okay, so CSI connector is also there. Uh, so these are the things, and also in Raspberry interfaces, receive and transmit RxTX is there just like Arduino Uno, and also serial peripheral interface is there. I2C pins are there. Okay, so these are the pins, different types of pins we have. So if you observe here, there is 3 volt power, then starts with the GPIO, general purpose input output, 2, 3, 4, okay, 5, 6. So you can serially name them, and along with that there is ground, there is 5 volt power. Okay, so though remembering is these pins are not difficult, so 1 to 40 pins are there. uh, Okay, so there are many operating systems which we can install in Raspberry Pi. So the operating system are Linux based, it may be non-Linux based, a Media Center OS and Audio OS. So Linux based is Kali Linux, Raspbian, CentOS, non-Linux is FreeBSD, NetBSD. So Media Center means they are specifically they are specific operating system which host image, so image processing or video editing, those kind of applications. Okay, so they are specifically designed for that. So why can't we use it in Linux build, for example Raspbian? Because this Media Center OS, the Raspbian board is resource constrained, right? So there is a limited RAM, and so the resources of the computing power, the resources of the Raspberry Pi is limited. So we have to, if you want media center applications like all this editing, video editing, these have to be run efficiently. Then the operating system should be specifically designed for those kind of applications. That's why this Media Center OS manages the resources of the Raspberry Pi well in cases of applications of media oriented applications. Okay, and also similarly Audio OS is also there, Volumio, Pi Music Box again. These Audio OS, they are specifically designed around hosting applications, audio related, audio mixing, and all those kind of applications specifically. So they manage. So for example, Raspbian Pi is a general purpose management of Raspberry Pi resources. But when we go into Audio OS, it's specifically designed uh, towards processing of audio for different purposes. Okay, so operating systems, these are different operating system. So how to set up? So either there is a pre-installed images there, download that one. So either, so otherwise OS install that one, and we'll have and start booting during doing the configuration. Okay, so there are three modes. One is pre-install Noobs OS. Okay, so the image is already there. Write that image through the SD card and start booting it. So OS installation, so you can download the OS and install, and also in first boot to configure all the keyboards and how. So there are two ways: either you can connect to monitor, keyboard, and all those things and start booting that one, do the configuration that way, or we can connect it to laptops or any computer, other computer, and through uh, shell script we can SSH link we can connect to Raspberry Pi and do our operations. So configure accordingly and start booting the devices. Okay, so the programming languages is normally Python, and also any program like blinking the LEDs and reading the sensors. The programs all are Python based, and this is about a Raspberry Pi, how it works. So you can get two major questions. If we see the old question paper, so write a note on Raspberry Pi or explain Raspberry Pi. So write this basic things, and write the pin diagram and its labeling, and write about the operating system and how to install the operating system. That should be about explain Raspberry Pi type of questions. And also if you get a program, it's a Python program, general LED blinking, that kind of program. So those are the two major questions that will come in Raspberry Pi programming. So next topic in our this module is the smart and connected cities. Um, so we will be studying four topics under this: an introduction to IoT strategy for smarter cities, uh, smart city IoT architecture and its security and use case examples. Uh, so its strategy, smart city concept is being elaborated. So they are good for smart buildings. Okay, so all the air conditioning, ventilation, heating, especially in the cities, so those can be controlled through uh, remote operations, internet-based operations, and easily can be monitored, and so energy consumption can be reduced. Next one is the gas monitoring. So in even again in municipal corporations and metro cities, apartments are supplied with piped gas, and those can be monitored. So meter reading, so if they are monitored, then meter reading cost and those things come down. And also if there is a leakage of gas, then the alerts can be generated, and the safety of the through gas monitoring, the safety of the user or consumer can be enhanced. And also there is smart parking. So we know that in cities and urban areas, there is a lack of parking space for vehicles. So if it is possible that in real time the parking slots can be booked, then it will conserve time and energy. And also smart ticketing, the even the price for parking purposes, it can be automated. And there can be water management. So how we have various households are connected with the municipal water, and meter reading can be automated. And also if there is a leakage, then it can be automatically detected. And also in road pricing, so there are many times cities are filled with city roads are filled with traffic. And also we can price the road. For example, if you go through MG road, it will be priced for. Okay, so if you park it somewhere and go by walking, then it will you will reduce the the money is not cut if you take the four-wheeler or a two-wheeler through that road. Then you can price the roads. Okay, so if you go through an MG road and stay there for certain amount of time, automatically your vehicle is monitored and it will be priced. Not a good application though. So so these are all smart cities. You can manage the cities. So whatever problems we have in cities, so uh, we can manage them and make it efficient. So that's the main motivation behind the strategy, smart city applications for IoT. And also there are global or siloed strategies. Okay, siloed strategies means, for example, municipal corporation have a different infrastructure, and also the state government operates a different infrastructure. So our tar road construction and subsequent digging of the tar road by the BSNL or those guys. So that's the best case example for a siloed operation. So no one knows who are doing what. But smart cities, they can be coordinated. So all the different activities of the cities, they can be coordinated. And a discipline can be there. uh, so the main problem in our cities now, so there is no sharing of intelligence and information. And also there is duplication of effort. And also uh, due to all these things, the infrastructure, it is difficult to scale. So the smart city provides us all the data sharing and coordination between different organs of developers, so that there is no duplication of efforts and wastage of resources. Uh, so this smart city IoT architecture. So this based on Cisco. Okay, the book is on Cisco Press. That's why they will give in Cisco. So there are many layers: street layer, city layer, data center layer, service layer. Okay, so all these layers are served by, if we see, clouds. Okay, there is no encouragement for private server. There is more encouragement towards clouds. Okay, so there are private clouds, partner clouds, on-site clouds. Okay, so private clouds means it will be unique service provided for a given customer. Partner clouds is a general purpose, all share the platform. On-site clouds On-site clause means instead of suppose the data generated in India should stay in India, so all the cloud infrastructure should be in India. So those are on-site clouds. They should not be stored in US or somewhere else. Okay, so this is a general architecture. So if we get a smart city architecture, so we have to write this diagram, and we have to explain street layer, city layer, data center layer, service layer, and also cloud mode, so private, partner, and on-site mode. This much we have to write. Okay, so street layer I have given, so it's composed of devices and sensors, and also traffic lights. All the endpoint devices which are present in street, like street lighting, uh, air quality sensor, a lighting controller. Okay, so traffic management sensors and all those things. Okay, so one of the key aspect to consider is what is the lifetime maintenance cost for these sensors, because they are exposed to rain, okay, so different weather conditions. Therefore, so what will be the lifetime of the sensing device? That's the main thing. And also, so for doing all the analytics based on this, decisions should be how to do the analysis of the data generated in the smart city. So that also have to consider. uh, there are something called the event driven systems. Okay, so if there is night, then street lights have to switch on. It is the morning, then it should be switched off. These are event driven, night and day event driven. And also sensor characteristics. Okay, so those should be considered, how to store them, what kind of data, in what kind of data format these sensors generate the data. So this is about street layer, means basically all the type of sensors which will be present deployed on street of the city. Okay, so then the city layer, after you collect all the sensor data and everything, so that next city layer, so how to transmit it to the data center layer city wise. Okay, so Bangalore, so suppose we have a centralized cloud for all the metros of India for doing the analysis. Then city assess, this is Bangalore city, this Delhi, this Mumbai, and all city layers. Okay, so it contains the networks and routers and switches, so that are deployed, so such that all the data which are collected from the street layer, they are transported. Okay, so to data center or cloud or wherever it has to get it transported. And next is data center layer. So this data center layer collect all the city wise. Okay, from the streets of the city wise, they collect all the data and apply the algorithms, and so they convert data into knowledge, and also helps in decision making about the city, generate meaningful charts and all those things, which helps the authorities to take proper decisions in planning the city. Okay, so the cloud services, it may be a hospital, so intelligent hospital, automatically ambulances and all those medical devices. So as the ambulance start from source to towards hospital from carrying the patient. All the medical equipment should be ready for the treating the patient. Intelligent hospital, intelligent city, so automated cars, so that's already there. Traffic cameras. Okay, so everything and everything is connected towards cloud. If we, so the collects all the data from different kinds of applications. Okay, so again next one is services layer. Again, so what happens, street layer is over, city layer is over, and data center layer is over, and also services layer. So based on those data analytics or transformation of this knowledge, data into knowledge, what kind of services can be provided? Okay, so different applications which make use of the data present in the data center, that's given by service layer. Okay, so it mainly things how to provide the data or decision making capabilities to different operators in the city. Okay, so it's about the service layer. um, so we have, so if you have a computer system such large, you know, city, street, and all those things, there will be vulnerability. Okay, because there may be always a cyber security threat. So those are, so what can we use? A firewall. We have next generation firewall and virtual private networks, and encryption should be used. So firewall is mainly used to block unwanted IPs, and also next generation firewalls, so they even check from what kind of applications the traffic is coming, and they can block application specific blockages of the IPs can be the packets can be done. So virtual so VLANs, virtual private networks. Okay, so they can have dedicated transmission for on payment. Okay, so the encryption from source to destination, encryption is done, maybe symmetric, maybe asymmetric. Okay, so this uh, avoids the triad of the security, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, CIA. So it's about encryption. Next, there are some, we will see some use cases. So they can be connected street, smart parking, smart traffic control, connected environment. Okay, so the connected street, uh,